to. I don't know if you are going to get this, but that's your loss. Okay. Okay. So the previous IDP coordinator was Associate Professor Dr. Shamsia. So I'm the first. This is my first year as a coordinator. Don't worry, I already berguru dengan Associate Professor Dr. Shamsia. She has taught me everything that there is to know. And if I am not sure, I will ask her. So no worries about that. Harapnya kita tak tersesat. So what they did last year, so they had meetings among themselves as groups. They had client or user interview. They also had prototype development and testing, but since it was virtual, everything was virtual, right? So one member had to sacrifice and do all of the development themselves. So that was hard on them. So hopefully this year we won't face that same difficulty. Hopefully you guys can work as a group to develop the prototype together and also conduct the client and user interview together. So it's going to be hard if some of you are online, some of you are like here, because when you are doing discussion, the ones that is online will feel missed out, right? So we're going to see what the decision of the head department is regarding this, if you can continue or not. Yeah, so hopefully you can. And then they also had final presentation and demonstration of their prototype. So keep in mind, you, apart from satisfying your client, you also have to demonstrate that you have a workable prototype. It's working, it's functioning. And then final report, this is like the usual stuff. And also this is another client user interview. So for the client user interview, usually you have to go to them. They won't come to you. So if you're dealing with a government body, you have to go to like Putrajaya ke. If you're dealing with a certain company, it's based in Penang, you go to Penang. If it's based in Johor, you go to Johor, depends. So if you want a company that is closer, then choose to solve their problems, like a company that is close. Okay, so that is up to you. The budget that we give per group will be 100 ringgit. I know it's not a lot. If you need more, you need to justify. Of course, I'm open to help. But you need to justify well why you need more money compared to other groups. Are you that special? Are you going to be able to give me a functional prototype if I give you more? Will the client be satisfied with your progress if I give you more funding? So those are the things that we need to we need to look at. Okay, food for thought. An ideal engineer is a composite. What does a composite mean? It means that you are a blend of a lot of things. He is not actually a scientist. He is not actually a mathematician. He is not a sociologist or a writer, but he may use all those knowledge and all those techniques or none at all. So all these disciplines in solving problems makes you an ideal engineer. So you have a little bit of this, a little bit of that. You use that together and use it wherever it's needed. So this is what engineers are. So it's different than a physicist, it's different than a mathematician. They are very fundamental. You take from everywhere, whatever that you can get, you use it to solve the problem. So intellectuals solve problems, geniuses prevent them. So your project will be about solving problems or about preventing problems. You can become an intellectual, you can become a genius. I don't care. You can choose whatever you want to do as long as you are solving or preventing a problem or there is a need and you are providing that solution. All right. So the goal of this course is to provide students with an opportunity to apply concepts and tools studied in the engineering program to the solution of the real world. So when you interview clients, you get a glimpse of the real world, even though you're not going to start off as a project manager, but it will give you a glimpse of how it's going to be. So first you come up with an idea or like a solution to a problem, and all of you contribute your ideas, right? So this guy wants to solve water issues. This guy wants to solve food chain issues. This guy wants to solve packaging issues in factories. So all of you have your different ideas. So you are actually diverging. But you have to like come with a common goal. You have to come up with a common goal, and this is where you converge. You converge to, okay, so let's talk about what is actually realistic to solve. So this guy wants to solve packaging, but contohnya, packaging takes a lot of machine power. The machine is going to be really expensive, so that's not really practical with the 100 ringgit budget. So you consider another idea. So you consider ideas and take into account all of the ideas. Do not don't brush away your friends' ideas. Even though it's silly, it might become the creative source to your project. So all ideas are good. But the one that you choose will be the most realistic to the most realistic one to solve. Okay, and then you converge. You come up with a common goal to solve a solution. To solve a problem, and you come up with a solution, and then you implement it. So when you are trying to implement it, you need to have.
Naik basement. Sebab tadi kita naik guna basement.
Yes, Adriana. Kenapa ya? Adriana, would you like to share with the class? Okay, so she's muted. Okay. So when you have like a common goal, you want to solve it, but you need to figure out what are the methods to solve that project. So this is where you come up with ideas again. So when all of you come up with ideas on how to solve or how to come up with a solution, this is where you diverge. And then again, you come to a point where you all agree to the specific design or like the specific implementation or the specific method. So this is where you converge. So there will be a lot of diverge and converge in your team groups. And I hope everyone can tolerate with each other, listen to everyone's ideas, do not get angry or like do not get into fights. We are professionals. So I hope everyone can work nicely and play along nicely with each other. All right. So this course covers computer and communication systems engineering. So we have market study, project planning and execution, modeling and simulation, if that is your project, cost analysis, this is a must for all projects. And you also have the prototype development. So when you're doing your project, you need to consider aspects of public health and safety. Is your project going to harm others? Is your project going to harm the environment? Is your project going to produce toxins? So those are the things that you also need to consider, even though that's not really the objective of your project. But those are the things that you need to consider. And is your project going to like offend a culture? So those are also some things that you need to consider as well. Society, economics, and environment. Okay. I wanted to talk about the week. Okay, so for this course, we have 3 course outcomes. Mereka bentuk sistem komputer dan komunikasi. So that is your prototype. And for this, you will have 20% as your CVR, client validation report and proposal. Your final report will carry marks 20%. Your final presentation is going to be 5% here. But in number 2, there is another 5% for your final presentation. So your final presentation is actually 10%. Project plans and meetings, this is 10%. Actually, it's 5. Nanti saya betulkan. This is actually 5%. SV and peer assessment is going to be 20%. So if you are not cooperative, you are given responsibilities and you do not commit to your responsibilities, you do not perform the task that your team assigned to you. Basically, you will get low marks for this, and that is 20%. Basically, you're not going to get an A. Okay, you're not going to get an A if you don't commit to your groups. So everyone has to really cooperate in this class. I don't know about other class, but this is a project management class and everyone has to cooperate. I know it's like Friday evening and it's going to be really boring, but this is the requirement and I didn't make the rules, okay? So SV and peer assessment is 20%. So your peers, they won't care about your grade. So they will tell me honestly, they will tell me truthfully whether you are doing your work or not. Everyone has to be matured in assessing their own peers, even though you are best friends. So this is where I will know whether you are doing the team, what the team has tasked you to do, or if you're like tuang, pergi shopping, pergi tuang pergi merata-rata, jalan-jalan waktu tengah discussion or assignment or like doing the prototype. I will know from here. Even the SV will assess you on this one as well. Okay. So we have weekly log reports. I will use Jira. Jira is a software. We will use Jira to document your reports. We will discuss this later. And the completion of your project will account for 10%. So some teams will not be able to complete their projects, so they will be affected in this 10%. Some of you will complete it successfully and you will get the full mark. So it depends if you can complete it in time. And of course, this goes back to your what you came up with. Is it realistic? Can you do it in a timely manner? Is your project good, but it takes 1 year? So that's not going to be good because we only have 1 semester. So those are the things that you need to think when you are discussing with your team. Okay, so these are the project activities. So we have like 8 here. So for week 1 to week 5, the first thing that you will do is you will sit in your groups, identify a need for a product or a service or a process or a system. It can be anything. I will give you a theme later on, but you need to identify what do they need, what is lacking, what are the issues that I want to solve, what is something that I want to prevent, like I mentioned to you before. And then getting to know your team and working effectively. So we already got to know each other. I will share the Padlet later. If you feel like they have some things in common with you, you can make that bond. I don't care. That's your team, that's your approach. And then work effectively towards a common goal, whatever goal that you choose later on. And then you have to generate a project proposal and client validation report. We will also discuss on this. You come up with a proposal, your idea as a team, and then you need to ask the client, hey, is this proposal okay? Are you willing to fund us? And you also have to tell me what is your project. You also have to tell your supervisor, and this will come as your elevator pitch. So you have an elevator pitch and also client validation report. So the report is the report lah. The elevator pitch is you presenting your idea, convincing me, convincing the client, convincing your supervisor that that this project is good, it is worthwhile doing, or you want funding. So this project deserves funding. Why? You need to justify yourself. So elevator pitch is only like 5 minutes. You need to convince me in 5 minutes. So how can you do that? So that is something that we will do later on. And then preparing the design. Once your project is approved by the client, by me, by your supervisor, then only you proceed with the design, come up with the best design that you have in mind, troubleshoot that design, okay, and then develop the product, service, process, or system, test it, make sure it's working, test its weakness, and identify what is the advantage of your system or like the product or the process. And then examine the business viability. Is it marketable? Can you sell it to other people? Are people willing to buy your project? So this is also part of this. Your project tak boleh syok sendiri, tak boleh syok sendiri. So you design like blue, contohnya what is something syok sendiri? Okay, you make a product that holds lotions. So that's, if you tell me, okay, I'm selling a product that holds lotions in place. I tell you, why do I need it? And you're not able to give me an answer because I can just put the lotion on the table. There's no need for a holder. So you're coming up with a solution that is unnecessary to me, unnecessary for others. It's basically because you like how it looks, so you come up with the solution. I don't need your solution. So you have to make a solution with other people in mind, not yourself, other people in mind. Okay, and then so that is your part of examining the business viability. And then you also have to prepare and deliver reports and presentation. So that is going to be in week 13 to week 14. Okay, this is your breakdown marks. So we already discussed this one. So your weekly log reports will account for 15%. CVR and your elevator pitch is 20%. Final report and presentation, project completion, all this together 40%. Meeting deadlines 5%. Supervisor and peer assessment 20%. So this is 100% in total. So this one, everything is in groups except for this part. Supervisor and peer assessment is individual. So you can get different marks than your peers. So this is an example of a weekly log. So here, okay, so this is an example of a weekly log. This method is using Kanban board, if I'm not mistaken, if I pronounce that correctly. So this project is about automated dried salted fish system. So this board, dia tampal, dia paste all the things or all the infos that they got. So why this project? Who did we talk to? Betul apa lagi? How to do it? How to make the project? And then interviewees. So they just paste whatever info that they got, or during their brainstorming, during their discussion, they just paste it here, and then they compile everything together to make that report. So you can use this method to come up with your weekly log report or update for me. Okay, so now comes the important part. This is the theme of your project for this semester: intelligence to agro-industry. So intelligence in agro-industry, from farm to fork. So what is agro-industry? It is an industry dealing with supply, processing, distribution, production, processing, packaging. And the part where this includes the industry which are engaged in the utilization of agricultural waste and its disposal. So if you want to come up with a solution with regards to the agricultural waste, you can, or the disposal of it, boleh. You want to come up with a solution in the supply chain, you can. In the processing, in the distribution, in the production, processing, and also packaging. You can, as long as it is realistic and the budget covers for it. So it has to be like cheap but effective, okay? Because we don't have money. So intelligence in agro-industry, so agricultural industry. So what are the questions that we need to ask ourselves before we come up with a title? So what are the producers in Malaysia's agro-industry? So we have like rice, we have sawit, right? So ask yourselves, what are the producers? What are some of the issues encountered in this sector? And what is your solution to overcome that issue or prevent that issue? Who are the government bodies involved? Will you be needing to talk to them, or can you work independently? Do you need to interview a company to know what their problems are? So your title, I'm not going to give it to you. You have to come up with it yourself within your team. And to do that, you need to do your research. And I can't tell you how to do research. That's going to be on your own. Okay, so identify the problems or needs in this industry that requires a solution. So you have to start thinking now, what requires a solution, intelligent solution? It has to be related to computer and communications somehow. Which part of the sector do you want to tackle? Do you want to tackle in the packaging sector, or do you want to tackle the processing sector, or the supply? Or do you want to tackle like from the root, which is knowing what is the pH soil to help the farmers grow better produce? You can do that as well, from farm to fork, whichever. The scope is very, very big. So I'm not gonna entertain you if you tell me, oh, I can't come up with the title. We didn't come up with the title because we couldn't find any title suitable with 100 ringgit budget. That's not realistic, because the scope is so big. I'm giving you a lot of options here. I can only, sometimes a coordinator can tell you, okay, I want intelligent solutions only on farms. Then maybe you are limited. I'm giving you from farm to fork, from the starting point to the end user. Besar, the scope is huge. So please find a solution. I'm not gonna I'm not gonna entertain excuses. Okay, so afterwards, when you have identified a great solution to a problem or to prevent an issue, generate a proposal, start working on your elevator pitch, 5 minutes. And then you can start working on your client validation report lah. But your elevator pitch comes first, okay? We will talk about CVR later on. So my task to you now is to just come up with an idea among your teams. And how do you know who is your team member? Go on to Putra Blast. There is a list of your team. Start forming your team and start discussing your idea. I want a title by next class. Okay? I want a title, solution, whatever. By next class, we're gonna discuss if your solution is okay. Is it short sendiri? Is it realistic within the budget? Is it realistic for within the timeline? Those are the things that we will discuss in next class. Okay. So that is it for our class today. Take care. Have a great weekend. And I know Friday class sucks, but it is what it is. Okay. Bye, guys.
Doctor, I have a question.
Oh, yes. I forgot to ask. Any questions?
Previously, right, dekat SMP, the time for this IDP class should be on Thursday evening.
Okay.
Kenapa dia tiba-tiba tukar on Friday petang Sebab kita orang pun tahu like 2 days before class start, semester start.
Oh, okay. Me too. Actually, they reshuffled the schedule like last minute. I think because some people couldn't attend the Thursday one. So I think we have to like stick to this schedule, even though it really sucks. Okay. So yeah, macam tu je lah. That's all I know actually.
But boleh tak kalau we wanna change the schedule to Thursday evening because tak silap semua quarter memang tak ada kelas on Thursday evening tu because on Friday evening macam susah sikit.
I agree. Thursday evening would be better, but I cannot take vote change to Thursday. I think someone cannot attend if we change it to Thursday. Can I get back to you guys on this one? I will discuss with the admin and see if we can, but I cannot promise anything. I know Friday evening is hard for everyone, but okay. So I will try my best, but I cannot promise you anything. Okay, is that okay?
All right, thank you, Doctor.
Okay. Other questions?
Doctor, can you please upload this slide to the Putra Plus?
Actually, I can't. It's copyrighted. Benda yang tak copyrighted, I will upload. I will dissect whichever that is copyrighted. I won't share. But this is going to be recorded, so you can go to the recording later. Is that okay? Or I can share with you the book that I'm using because I can't share. Yeah, I will be sued. Okay. I will share the material. I mean, I will share the title, and you can Google or download. Didn't come from me. Okay. It didn't come from me.
Another question, as for the supervisors, how are we going to be distributed? How the supervisors
so like I mentioned to you before, by next class you need to have a title from your group, and I will list down the titles, and your supervisor will pick accordingly. If they decide to pick your title, you will get that supervisor. So I'm not going to randomize. The supervisor will have the privilege to pick lah, because they are the one going to supervise you and help you, guide you with the client validation report and stuff like that. Okay, so you don't get to choose your supervisor, but your supervisor gets to choose the title. They won't know who is behind the title. They just choose the title. Okay, so it's quite anonymous lah juga. Any other questions?
Doktor,
Yes.
bolehkah kita list beberapa title untuk kita propose nanti? Or just one?
You can list the few titles among yourselves, and please come up with the best one that your group agrees to do. Is that okay? I know like you can come up with 3 ideas, but as a group you need to have one. If your supervisor or me does not agree with your title, we can suggest for you to improve it. We will give you feedback on how you can improve it. So maybe during that time you can tell us your second and third option. Don't worry too much lah. Okay. Okay. Other questions?
Doctor, is there any limitation on the how hard and or how easy this title is going to be?
How hard or how easy?
Like the limitation.
It has to involve IoT lah. Okay, so that's like the requirement. You have like to have like some intelligent things embedded in your project. It has to have IoT or it has to have like communication, because this is an IDP project after all. So how hard or how easy can it be? A hard one will be not realistic because our timeline and budget. A too easy one is not going to give you good marks or convince the client. So please try to think on what to solve first, because an easy solution can be a good solution, but is it required? Is your solution a necessary solution, or is it just like short sendiri, like I mentioned to you before? So if it's an easy solution, but it solves a lot of problems, I mean, it really helps the company or it really helps the government body, then why not, right? So lucky you if you get an easy project. Boleh. As long as you are fulfilling a need.
Another question, is it need to be a hardware and software combination, or maybe like we can use a simulation?
Okay, I need to get back to you on that one. I'm not sure. I was told that it needs to be hardware and software, but I'm not sure if we can do simulation. But I mentioned simulation before. Okay, let me double confirm on that. Okay, sebab saya kena satisfy program outcomes, so I have to like check back on that. Okay, any other questions? Simulation, I need to write that somewhere. No questions? Everyone okay? Okay, thank you for joining me on a Friday evening. I know it's hard for everyone. It's hard for me too. I hope you have a great weekend. I will see you next class. Okay, so I'm available on WhatsApp if you have any questions. Bye.
Thank you so much, Doctor.
Welcome.
Thank you, Doctor.